The name of the segment is called Which Way the Wind Blows. Our political contributor, Mr. Eric, he's going to let us know what's going on with Ralph Northam. And he's just going to give us a little commentary with what he think. And he's going to answer a few questions that we may have.
Okay. God, I hate this so much. So, full disclosure here, I did some work, light work, but still work, thought out work of making the calls from DC and doing the things that us non-constituents can do to get someone elected. And, I got either one of those two people in the photo in that yearbook from a 28-year-old man in med school elected. So in some, whichever influence that had, however much you can measure that in, which is negligible, but that's besides the point. I contributed to this dude being elected, so I want that to be
full disclosure.
Yeah. So
we don't personally blame you.
No.
I mean, I can't speak for P.
Seeing this stuff come out, the conversations that happen around this are just so misguided, and I just kind of want to start off by saying, all three dudes involved in this scandal. I'm usually a person of political nuance, and I like to think things through. But, when it comes to sexual violence and racism, there's no gradual change here. You just got to get these dudes out and get them out for good. And there's, I don't know what else to really say about this. This is not, I have talked with people about this, tried to have conversations, and it's not really the kind of thing you have conversations about. At some point, this has to stop. This is the way I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about how y'all feel as well.
Well,
but let me ask you a question, because I think the thing that shocked me about it is, have you ever seen it happen like this? Three people
in a line of succession.
The lieutenant governor and
the secretary of state.
That feels like I don't remember it being like that.
So no, I think what's happening is we're actually watching politics now,
right.
Yeah.
And we're watching a bunch of someone rolled the log over and all this shit's coming out.
Right. Those are the maggots under the log.
But this has been there the whole time.
Worms.
What's really shocking is knowing the extent of it and seeing how thorough it is. And, these are two different, the two things that are just, they feed into larger issues. But, sexual violence and racism in the Democratic Party, does there not need to be an alternative? That's what I'm so worried about here is, the idea that,
Also, the focus has to be, they cannot fuck this up in Virginia because the focus is to beat Trump in 2020, right?
Yes.
And if the Democrats alienate the African Americans that put Northam over the top, if they decide to stay home in 2020, it's a wrap.
That is and I would argue we shouldn't be concerned with the politics of this.
That's
I feel
even
like
the morality of it.
It's at some point what do you say? There's a I always hear this. Well, we let the Republicans get away with it, so why do we have to be weak? Because this isn't weakness. It's strength to eject these motherfuckers from these positions that are a privilege. It's a privilege to serve. And you are serving constituents that, why would they trust you?
You're supposed to serve the constituents. They end up serving lives.
Right.
I think Liam said it last week that you disqualify yourself if you dress in blackface.
So,
you
if
can't
you dress in blackface, if you assault a woman,
you disqualify yourself.
I was having this conversation yesterday. I was talking with my sister, and it was all right, you did these things. why the hell are you running for political?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. You know,
that's
go
a bit of
somewhere.
arrogance. That's arrogance.
Put your head in the sand and do something. You can do something that's not going to put you
support
out
the
there.
government.
Well, Lee, what if you were put in a yearbook that you didn't want to be out there?
Right.
And then, the thing is, it was on your page, and you trying to say it wasn't you. Why didn't you got to remember at least seeing this picture the year it came out. You saw it the year it came out. You're supposed to be outraged then. And you could have been like, yeah, I remember when it came out.
You should have been upfront with it.
It made me upset. But you saying you don't remember it and it's your face. Why is it's on your page? It's not like it's just in the yearbook that you're in.
That's egregious.
Yeah.
That's not.
It's on your page.
Wasn't his nickname Coon? I mean, you should have known from the beginning. If you got a dude that's running for governor, and his nickname was Coon, a term of endearment that his friends gave Ralph Coon Norton. That should have tipped the nigga off.
Well, I mean, that might mean he might have been sympathetic to black people then, though, for real.
If somebody's sympathetic to black people, I don't want the name Coon.
They might call him that because that's who he like a coon.
That's who he like.
Well,
yeah, it could be.
Tony, like if he's sympathetic to black people, then why hasn't he resigned?
Yes.
At some point, like, this seems like the gesture is not to come from your perch right now and say, well, I'm going to do something on your behalf after I fucked up and didn't disclose anything
with a farmer,
and let this happen.
He met with a farmer.
Well, like, all is forgiven then.
A black farmer.
What? Well.
I didn't tell you that. So then, yeah.
That is a plot twist that none of us could see coming.
I met with a dude that would have sharecroppers in his family.
Right. It's just know that. Just know that at this point, if I was a Virginia voter, I just couldn't have faith in someone that I knew.
I get that.
You know, but
then on the flip side,
here's the funny part.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not even gonna say funny, but remember we talked about this last week, and I think P had brought it up. This was after the recording, and he was talking about how if you did something when you was a certain age, right? How does it? Are you still that same person?
Yeah.
You know, 20 years later.
So if he wanted to prove that he was not that same person, then he should resign.
I think that's the answer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry if I'm speaking so sloppily here, but like, I really want to drive home that would be an act of caring.
Right.
Yeah.
An act of, like, resignation is an act of, like, showing shame. Showing atonement. And then you work your ass off
to try to get the favor again.
And not politically.
Not to say political office is not to say the political office is off the table, but you got a lot of work to do in the community before you get back before you can regain the public trust.
You got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
And that's going to be years. That's going to take years.
Yeah.
No, if there's any time
and he shouldn't be offended that some people will never forgive him for that. And he has to reconcile himself with that shit.
Right.
So like in kind of getting just kind of wrapping up a discussion about like the politics of this is like kind of one of those segments that I think to start off, whichever way the wind blows, that this is kind of beyond politics in some way, and if we are like I don't want to say whether like Democrat and Republican, like let's not focus the discussion on that. Let's say like if you are of the Democratic affiliation or you consider yourself progressive, then this is like a good time to kind of I would say put pressure on people to finally draw a line where you say like, no, this is like if you're going to show who we aren't, which is just as important as who you are.
Right.
This is where you draw the line. This is a good time to do it. Yeah,
I was saying we can't have the moral high ground if we allow this gentleman to stay in office, and we can't say anything against Trump.
100%, and also let's not see it as a political tool.
Yeah, and that goes with it's more about what's morally right. What's just.
And that's we all owe each other that.
And that's the same with Justin Fairfax. Are you guys familiar with what's going on with him? Eric, would you like to share a little light on what's going on with Mr. Justin Fairfax?
So yeah, I'm sorry for the lack of detail here, but
okay.
Justin Fairfax was Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, who's someone again with the disclosure, like we made some calls on behalf of, and I was really enthusiastic about. He has been accused of sexual assault. And there was some in Oppo research. There was some stuff done by the Washington Post. Actually, got hold of this story. I think that dates back to 2004, if I'm not wrong. And while Justin Fairfax, when he initially came out against the sexual assault accusation, he said that he mischaracterized what the Washington Post said, which was not that they had nothing, but that they had some inconclusive research on this, and decided not to publish the story. But since then, a second person has come out, and this is going back to the issue that we saw in the Kavanaugh hearing and everything. If we're going to be consistent in saying that we believe women, this is the exact kind of case where you ask the people that what they went through. This is when it's time to highlight, their accusations are no different here. If you really care about it, then you want to know. You want to know the answer, one way or the other. And
so progressives can't say we believe women when it happens to Republicans, but don't
because that's so much bigger than politics.
Yeah, so much believe. I mean,
and it's two. I mean, it started off as the one. Now it's somebody.
Yeah. I think we have to take that seriously.
We have to look like a character at this point.
We have to.
And I didn't want to. Like I felt that resistance in me too. Like I felt myself being like even that I think that thing you get when you like believe in someone and you're excited about someone politically and you see something that they represent the people in some way, and it's disqualifying.
And again, as Eric said, this is beyond politics. It's about a moral issue. It's a referendum on who we are as people, as opposed to, what's the political expedient thing to do.
And again, with my self-disclosure,
I
remember with Justin Fairfax, when old girl came out the same night that Ralph Northam got, they were asking him to resign. I was like, whoa, look at the timing.
That's like some Godfather shit.
But then I had to think about the same thing with Kavanaugh. It was the same thing. He was like the old girl. That was like 25 years. Yeah. It was the same thing with timing. But I at that point, I was just like, yeah. And I was easily justifying Kavanaugh. I was like, well, he's running for Supreme Court. It's the highest court in the nation. He needs to be vetted. And this is a proper vetting. But it's the same thing because Justin Fairfax was running on morality to try to become the next governor.
Right.
So you can't be saying you're moral and then you got these accusations.
Right. Exactly.
And if something will be proven later on, but the perch of political office and the influence you have, let's show some separation here. Let's show we've got ideals and things that we draw a line at, and even if these people that are being accused of it, if that's where they draw the line, then they will find a way to get back in the public's good graces by their good actions if they didn't do it.
All right. And that's Which Way the Wind Blows.